I was taught, it made such a huge difference in sales, and I've been able to pass it out to so many other people. So 7 keys to upselling your order. So this is like after you pick the set. Everyone got that? So there are 7 steps after you pick the set. So once you figure out what set they want, right, whatever comfort zone they have, maybe it's a galley set, a starter set, maybe it's a custom set, right? Like whatever we figure out, and they're like, we find their comfort zone. This is what happens after the comfort zone. Everyone got that? All right. So the first thing is larger sets or buy 3, get 1 free. So jot that down. Larger sets or buy 3, get 1 free. All right. And so this right here, so all the time, this happens all the time. So she calls in, hey, my customer's definitely getting a homemaker with free scissors, wanted to see what bundles or packages and stuff were available for Memorial Day. I was like, oh, awesome. I said, hey, let her know. I said, does she cook? She said, yeah. I said, oh my gosh, let her know that we have a deal where if you actually, if they got the signature, okay, it has the scissors in it, it has more table knives, it has some other things. I said, but if they did the signature set instead, now you're able to get $400 of whatever she wants for free. I said, so it's definitely worth it if she likes to cook. I'm like, it has like the Hardy slicer, which is like I use the hell out of that knife. It has the cheese knife, which I use like crazy because I do a lot of cheese and wine. It has the scissors in the block. It has extra table knives, extra cutting boards. But she told her customer, she's like, hey, and just so you know, my manager said that if you got the signature for Memorial Day, it's actually has $400 of whatever you want for free with that one. Do you like that better, or do you want to just do the homemaker? And they were like, oh my gosh, yeah, let's do that. One of my other guys called in, hey, my customer's definitely getting a homemaker. They wanted to add some forks and spoons to it, right? And I said, okay, cool. I said, well, hey, just so you know, if they got the signature, I said, we could give them, 10 forks and 10 spoons for free. And they have, 10 settings basically, because there's 10 table knives. And the lady was like, oh my gosh, yes, let's do that. So we ended up doing that for her. Jessica Perez called me. My customer is definitely getting a homemaker +8. They wanted to see like what we could do if we added the cleaver Santoku. And I was like, they cook a lot. Like people don't buy cleavers unless they cook a lot or hunt or, and she's like, oh yeah, they cook like crazy. I was like, dude, they shouldn't have a homemaker. I'm like, show them the complete set and say, hey, just so you know, if you wanted to get this, there's a trade-in. You can trade in your old stuff. It goes to charity, and you can either save $350. So you can get a $350 discount for donating your old stuff, or you could pick out $750 of whatever you want for free. And her customers were like, heck yeah. And they got kitchen tools, kitchen accessories, some outdoor stuff. They basically redid everything. I was like, they can pick out all the stuff that they want, like in like the basics of the kitchen, and they're never going to have to replace those gadgets, kitchen tools, scissors, again. And so they were super excited, and she sold a complete set. I can go on and on, but larger set sales or buy 3, get 1 free, right? Ethan Poole, my customer is buying a homemaker, and I needed, so she's buying 2 homemakers. I was like, okay. I said, make sure she knows they're all buy 3, get 1 free. I said, not that she needs 4 homemakers, but see if she has any weddings coming up. See if she has, another home. See if whatever. And the lady was like, oh my gosh, yes, you're right. You know what? I do have that. And so she was buying for her in a wedding, but then she ended up getting another daughter for a gift. I don't remember if it was for Mother's Day or for her birthday. And then she got instead of another homemaker, because she didn't need another homemaker, we gave her a homemaker value, right? Like $1,300 or $1,400 of whatever she wanted for free. And so she picked out a bunch of stuff that she wanted for free. And she was super excited. Kyle Pachetto, I taught him to ask. So this is the question you ask if they say the set. You so how many? Roman, tell my husband or Jay, tell my husband I really need water. Okay. So that's the first thing, is either a larger set, a buy 3, get 1 free, or a larger set option. Like always, like that's an easy thing. So if they like to cook, they might like larger set, but you always want to ask like how many. So when Ms. Jones says, oh, the homemaker, I'm like, okay, awesome. How many did you want? And some customers are gonna be like, hey, what? Or they'll say, Jay, people might buy more than one from you, and you're like, oh, well, like if they have like a second home, or if they have like birthdays or weddings or things coming up. And guys, just by asking that, one of our girls, Jessica, who is from Jamaica, she did a demo with her aunt and uncle, and he was buying a complete set, right? And I said, oh, how many does he want? And she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I said, I thought you said he has a house in Miami and a house in Jamaica. She's like, yeah. I said, well, ask him. I said, ask him, does he want one for each house, or how many does he want? And so she asked him like, oh, do you want one for each house? And he was like, oh, I didn't think about that. Yeah, you know what? I do. And then I told her, hey, make sure all sets are buy 3, get 1 free. I said, and what's free is always equal or lesser, right? And so I said, see if he needs any gifts for like Christmas, anything coming up. And then she asked him, and he's like, she said, oh my gosh, actually, I still haven't bought mom, a gift. So let's do this. Yeah, let me get, I'll get 1 for each house for me. I'll get 1 for my sister. I'll get 1 for my mom. So you said I pay for 3 and I get 1 of them free. Okay, cool. Let's do that. And so all of a sudden she went from having a $2,500 CPO, thank you, to over a 6,000 or 7,000, just by asking. That happened to me. I was with a, and I thought they weren't going to buy crap. The lady, like the whole time was like, and I was like, oh, check this out. And back then, this is when we did the demo and we had them cut the leather, right? Versus you guys playing the video. Oh, go ahead and grab your knife so you can try this. And she's like, no, thank you. Like she was awful. And I was like, oh my God, why did she even say? So I like go through the demo as quick as I can. And I'm like, I just need to be done with this demo. Like this lady is a B. I'm like, this is not fun. And so at the end, I'm like, I do my closing. I'm like, so have you had a chance to look at the prices? She's like, no. I'm like, okay, it's like anything. There's such a wide range of quality prices. Cutco's top rated, so we only compare to the highest quality stuff. I go, if you were considering this out, would you prefer and this is if you watch How to Close on the like my triple close, this is how I always close. I'm like, so Ms. Jones, if you were considering a set, would you prefer the basic cutting tools, the signature family set, or the complete set so that you have everything? Instead of saying like, do you prefer the set without stupid? You say, or the complete set or the basic cutting tools, the signature family set, or would you prefer to have the complete set so that you have everything? And they say, which one? I'm like, okay, awesome. So she said complete. She's a complete set. And I was like, thinking to myself, is this lady for real? Like she was like not even paying attention or wanting to do anything, right? So I finish up. And she says, okay. And I said to her, so I said, do you want to go ahead and get that today? I asked for the order. And she's like this. And then I learned to say this, write this down. Are you not sure which set? Or are you not sure which color? All right. Or are you not sure which color? Or are you not sure which set? All right. What does that show? It shows that they want it. All right. If they're quiet, guys, if they're quiet, that means they're actually considering it. Everyone make sure you know that. And when you guys are teaching reps, like if they're quiet, they're actually considering it. Okay. If they didn't want it, they would have said no right away, or just naturally there's a knee-jerk reaction. Even if they do still end up getting it, like naturally about half of people have a knee-jerk reaction of saying no before they even say yes. All right. But if they're quiet, that's a very good thing. And I didn't know that at first. Right. But anyway, so she stays quiet. This time I'm more experienced. I was a year in. If not, I would have never had this sale. I stay quiet. I say, hey, so are you not sure which color, or are you not sure which set? I'm like table knives or the steak knives, and she was like, no. She's like, I'm not sure which house. I was like, what? And by the way, I did this demo live. We were not in a nice area of town. We're in a very not nice area. And, but it's down close to the Keys, down in Homestead, but there's like very, very like rundown areas down there. And so I said, oh, you have another home? And she's like, yeah, we live in Maine. She's like, we just bought this property, bulldoze this house and rebuild. We just want to be close to our kids and grandkids and be able to go to the Keys easily. And I was like, oh, okay. I said, oh, how many kids do you have? She's like, 2. I said, oh, how old are they? And she's like, my son's 34, my daughter's 32. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome. How many grandkids? And she's like, so dry. I'm like trying to build rapport. And she's just like, but I said, well, hey, just so you know, and guys, if you don't have that phrase down yet, if you haven't written that down yet, that's how you show deals. So always say that. But I'm like, so just so you know, because it's no pressure. You just want to make sure they know their best value. So I said, just so you know, if you bought, a set for each house, like bought a complete set for each house. I said, all of our sets are buy 3, get 1 free. So I don't know if you'd want to buy a complete set for both of your homes, 1 for your son and get 1 free for your daughter. I said, but you could do that. And they were kind of like, I was like, or you could do the smaller, like the homemaker. I said, so you could buy a complete set for each of your homes, buy a homemaker for your son, get a homemaker for your daughter. And the husband like, oh, okay. Wait, so how much is that? He's like, so basically it's like $700 each is what we're paying instead of the 1,400, or whatever. And I was like, at that time it was She's like, he's like $600 each, 650 each, you know, instead of the 1,300. I'm like, yeah. And he's like, honey, that's a good idea. He's like, we haven't bought their, you know, holiday, like we could get that, we could give that to them for the holidays instead of doing like a cruise or whatever. And I was like, I mean, they're actually going to use it and have it forever. So it's a pretty nice gift. And then they're like, yeah, sure, let's do that. She wrote me a check for $5,700. I was like, what the hell? You know, so you just got to throw it out there. You just never know. So again, always ask like, oh, how many did you want? Or how many did you need? You know, and they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, oh, well, some people have multiple homes or they need like gifts for weddings or, you know, birthdays and stuff. So bring that up. If you never ask, you never get it. Cool. If we never brought it up on those demos, it never would have happened. So make sure that you guys always just like bring that up. All right. The second thing is steak knives, extra table knives, stainless table knives, or flatware. Okay, that's the second thing. So again, first key is once you find their comfort zone, show them a larger set or buy 3 get 1 free. Cool. Sometimes they're like yes, sometimes they say no. All right, but they say yes. All right, awesome. And then you show them the next thing. So Ms. Jones, we have a lot of people like to add extra table knives or steak knives to their set because obviously those are in the dishwasher all the time, you know, and then some people that buy the set with the, like, so it depends. If they bought the set with the table knives, I'll say, Ms. Jones, a lot of people like to add steak knives, you know, so they have those, especially for like those, like, you know, nice occasions when you set the table and you guys are having a nice steak, or the stainless table knives, which just look gorgeous for entertaining. It looks so nice on the table. Some people just buy the table knives. Some people like to have the whole matching flatware. Is that something that you'd want to know prices on? You know, and that's kind of how I'd ask. And I had a kid, Anthony Camacho. He called me, right? Hey, Galley. The first thing I did was, hey, by the way, if they got a homemaker, they could get blah. Make sure you let them know that. Cool. And if not, make sure to keep showing them all the other accessories. All right, Anthony. And he's like, all right, cool. So he did that. He called me back. He's like, all right, they didn't want to get a larger set, but they do like the flatware. And I was like, awesome. Well, if they wanted to add that, they could get another $300 for free. And by the way, his order went from like $800 to $1,800 just by doing that. Cool. They added the flatware. We gave him stuff for free. They were super excited. All right. I had a customer that was a no sale. I went all the way down. They didn't want to get anything. Oh, no, I'm lying. They were going to get a couple pieces. The wife was like, we can't afford anything. We can't afford anything. Like she kept saying that. And the husband wanted to buy the homemaker and he's the one that loved to cook. But she was like, no. Like we just have too much. And we were in a very small house. Like it wasn't like a nice, like a very small house. Probably the whole house was like 1,400 square feet. Like my condo was bigger than it, like apartment. And there, you know, and he was a mechanic. She was a teacher. They were super sweet. This is not like my friend Jennifer Ramirez's parents, who were also a mechanic and a teacher. But I, you know, at the end we dropped down and she's like, why don't you just get a couple things you're going to use the most, honey? And he's like, well, okay, how about this, whatever. So they picked out a couple things and I was like, oh, actually, and this is, if you haven't, assistants, if you haven't watched Upselling, this is easy. So they picked out a chef, the trimmer, and the spatula. All right. So the chef, the trimmer, and the spatula, guys, we're looking at, you know, 270, close to $300. And I said, Miss Susie, I said, can I show you how you guys can get a much better value or you can get some free stuff? She's like, sure. And so I told her, I said, there's a package, right? There's a bundle that has the chef. It has the trimmer. It has, and I wrote this down for you, tell them to write it down. Like it has the spatula. Cool. It also has the paring. It has a large carver. It has, write down the tray. It has the sharpener. Am I going too fast? Oh, so if I'm writing it, I can write fast, but if not, you want to go slow. I'm like, it has a cutting board and has the scissors that you loved as well. I said, so this is normally over, you know, $680 value. I said that you would be getting for at that time, like that package, it was like $420. And so I was like, it's like $82 or like $3 is what you would pay. And you could get that. I'm like, I just wanted to show you that because the 3 tools you were going to get are almost $300, you know, and just for like $100 more, you're getting like almost double, you know, like so much more for your money. I said, do you like that better or you want to just go with the pieces? Right? Like, cause again, you're just showing them their best value, but when they're looking at it, it was so funny. And I had it down on a piece of paper, right? So whether you have them write it down or they write it down, you know, she has chef, the trimmer, all right, spatula. And, you know, I put just shy, like I did like kind of a wiggle, but I'm like, you know, it's just shy of about $300, you know, after taxes and stuff. And then we have this deal has the chef, and it has the trimmer, and it has the spatula, and it has the paring, and it has the larger carver. All right, and it has this, and it has a tray, and it has a cutting board, and it has the sharpener. I just said it to you guys is exactly how I say it to customers, because I want them to see like how much stuff it has. And I'm like, and all of this is normally, all right. And I have to look at the app now. It's probably about $700 worth of stuff, but somewhere around like 680, I think is what, when I did the demo. So $680 value. I said, and the bundle, if you did the bundle today, you save more when you do it as a bundle. It's like $425. I said, so your deposit, if you wanted to try it out, would end up being like $85. All right. And so that's what that would come out to. I'm like, so you wouldn't pay, this price, or excuse me, sorry, you wouldn't pay the 680. All right. It'd be for the 425. And again, you wouldn't have to pay all that. Now you would just put that deposit down. Cool. So is that, I said, do you like that better? I just wanted to show you that because you're going to pay about $300 for the 3, and here you get so much more for your money. And she was like, oh yeah, let's do that, and I was like, okay, cool. And so I said, all right, awesome. So I'll put that together, which by the way, that's an all knife set with free scissors, just so you know. But you never want to say like, oh, I have this set, because she already said no to set. That's another workshop for another day. But in her head, she didn't want a set, right? So at the end, once I know what she wants, this is called dropping back up. All right. But once I know what she wants, then I can show her the best value. And so that's what we do with you guys all the time. And I'm like, hey, we have this bundle, or hey, we have this package, that has da da da. And they're like, ooh, I like that better. And I'm like, yeah, you get a lot more for your money. All right. And then boom, that's done. So we did that. Then I go into gifts and accessories, right? And I said, oh, let me just show you all the other stuff in case you guys have any like weddings, birthdays, anything coming up, but at least you know everything Cutco has. Cool. And they're like, all right, sure. And so I go through, she sees the flatware and she goes, oh my God, we need flatware. She's like, yes, we need that. We need that. And I was like, okay. And so her husband's like, I thought, we can't afford everything right now, whatever. She's like, no, but I've been looking for that. Like, we actually need that. And she goes through and she's like, we have all this mismatched shit. She's like, it's had this forever. She's like, I need good flatware. And so I told her, I'm like, hey, this is normally this. I'm like, it's $600 discount if you do the 12 settings. She's like, I only need 8. I was like, you're literally almost paying the same price. I showed her, I said, this is 8. I said, this is what 12 normally is. But if you buy it with the chest, you actually save almost, $600-700. And so it's a much better value, and you're paying almost the same as you were for 8. She's like, oh, wow. By the way, if you wanted to do the chest with the 12 settings, I will buy you that bundle that I told you about. She was like, what? I'm like, well, like the knife bundle, not the scissors, but like everything else. I said, I'll buy it for you as a free gift, as a thank you if you got that today. I said, so it's a win-win. I was like, it hooks you guys up to the max and it helps me out a ton too. And she was like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah. Guys, my order was still over $1,000. So I from a CPO that was going to be $350 to a CPO that was over $1,000. And that was because of the flatware. Everyone good? All right. So that's big. All right. So that's the second one. Always show, because like people will add extra steak knives, table knives, flatware to their order. And sometimes they weren't even going to buy, and they buy that, right? Zavdiel, the other day you sold a flatware chest, right? Like that's what you sold, was flatware on the demo. So make sure to show that. The third thing, cookware. All right. Pans. So sometimes people have, maybe they have a set, like I think Zavdiel, did your people have a homemaker already? Do they own Cutco? Okay, cool. They had a homemaker, so they added to it. So sometimes it's they own Henkel's or Wusthof or Schoen or Global, and they got them like recently, and they're not like, they don't feel comfortable replacing them yet because they spent so much money recently, but they'll add stuff like the, or they'll add cookware, right? Sometimes it's someone who owns a homemaker and they never bought the flatware and they add the cookware. So it's easy to have $1,000 order without even selling knives. Okay. You could actually have like a $3 to $5 grand order without selling one kitchen knife. So don't forget that. So that's the third thing, is show them the pots and pans, show them the video, whatever. And that's a quick hit or miss. It's like, oh, have you guys heard of low moisture cookware? Show them that. I'm like, is that something that you'd want to know more about? They're like, no. Or they're like, oh my God, yeah. I had a lady who was buying a paring knife. And then when I got to the cookware, Jane was like, oh my God, we need good pots and pans. Is this? Does this work on this type of induction stovetop? Like all the questions. And I was like, let me call and find out, but she ended up buying our complete cookware set for 2 of her homes. And I had an order that was over $4,000 that was going to be a paring knife. So when I showed her the cookware. Number 4, kitchen accessories. Cool. You guys can do add-ons like, hey, here's our kitchen tools. Here's this. So Shelly, my biggest order, who was 17 grand, Shelly was going to buy a couple things to add, some things she was missing. She had a complete set for over 10 years. And when I went to see her, she's like, oh, I need a couple things. And I was like, all right, cool. I wrote those down. And then I'm like, hey, by the way, Shell, I'm like, let me just show you our gifts and accessories real quick. And so I remember showing her, I showed her the kitchen tools first because it was in the picture next to the homemaker, but she's like, oh, I don't have those. I was like, those are fantastic. You can put the lip on the pot. It doesn't fall in, like it just kind of hangs on the side of the pot versus taking it out and dirtying the counter. I was like, and it's heat resistant up to 350, or actually I think more than that, 450 degrees Fahrenheit or something. But anyway, it's not going to melt by sitting on the hot pot, you know? And so it can sit on there. You can stir and just sit it right back on the side of the pot. And I was like, and then the like flipper, I was like, it's super thin, so you can get really nice under burgers or, you know, pancakes, and it just slides right under. It's not thick at all. And then the whisk, I'm like, you guys know how whisks go like this, okay? And you know what they look like. Our whisk, I don't know if you guys have seen a picture of it, but it's like, oh man, Roman, grab a whisk. I don't know if they have it there, but it's really skinny, so it's like this like little coil, and it's just like on the top, and it's made so that you can literally just go back and forth. You don't have to do this whole motion, because if you have carpal tunnel or arthritis, like that's not fun, like doing this motion. So our whisk, you can either go side to side or front and back, and it whisks it just like if you were doing this. It's pretty badass. So all of our stuff, by the way, we've won awards from the Arthritis Association, from, you know, carpal tunnel, whatever, because it's made to reduce hand fatigue. So from the knives, everything Cutco makes, just so you guys know. So anyway, so you've got the whisk, so it's super easy. And so I told her, she's like, oh my gosh, yes. She's like, I need 2 of those. And I was like, all right, we'll get you 2 kitchen tool sets, because she had 2 homes. And I said, all right, cool, Shelly. And then she's like, yeah, let me get 2 of those. So boom, I just added you know, like $400 to my order. Cool. I was like, awesome. You know, then when I showed her the flatware, she's like, oh my gosh, I've never seen that. I need flatware, you know? And then I showed her that, and she was like, yes. She's like, how much is that? And I told her the deal, and I told her the deal on the 12. And I said, she's like, okay, yeah, I'll get 1 of those. And I suggested more, because I know she throws parties. I was like, Shelly, 1? I was like, you definitely have more than 12 people here, like almost every day. And she started laughing. She's like, you're right. I was like, you should have at least 2, if not 3, like cases, the chest. And she's like, okay, let's start with 2. I was like, all right, I'll put down 2. So now my order is like over $3,600, which she was buying like $300 originally. Okay. And so this is for her. And then I showed her like outdoor stuff, whatever. She's like, no, she's like, I just need another pair of scissors. So that's, so number 4, like I said, is kitchen accessories. So cheese knife, I added another cheese knife for her and stuff for entertaining, but cheese knives, gadgets, right? The entertainer pack, pizza cutter, ice cream scoop, the wine opener, kitchen tools, extra scissors, like all those things would be like your kitchen gadgets, right? So then I showed her the outdoor accessories. That's number 5, outdoor accessories. So hunting knives, pocket knives, fishing knives, whatever. She's like, oh my gosh, how much are those fishing knives? I'm like, oh, you know, I told her the price, and she's like, I said, they're guaranteed forever, by the way. She's like, what? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, you never replace it. I'm like, so it's like comparable to like any good fillet knife in a store, except that those you will replace and this you won't. And she was like, okay, I need 5 of those. She's like, I need those for like gifts. And because the guys always go fishing, and like they're always like complaining about their knives. I'm like, awesome. So whatever, we just added $500 to the order, you know. But I'm like, okay, sounds good. I'll put that on there. So always show those, because if they hunt, if they fish, if they don't, guys, we have Father's Day coming up. You've got to make sure you're saying, hey, have you finished? Write this down. Have you finished all your Father's Day shopping yet? So write that phrase down. You should be saying that every single demo when you guys get to here. Have you finished all of your Father's Day shopping yet? And then we go to 6. And by the way, I had someone who was a no sale. And when I showed them the outdoor gifts and accessories, I said, hey, do you know anyone that hunts or fishes? She's like, actually, my brother. I said, this is a really popular. I'm like, I don't know if he has a birthday coming up or anything. She's like, actually, he does. And I was like, oh, really? She's like, you know what? I'll take that. So my no sale turned into a $100 order, whatever, 90 TPO from her buying, you know, the fishing knife. And by the way, at that time, I was making 50% commission. I just made $45 in in an hour. So I'll take it. All right. But make sure you guys show those. All right. Then number 6, this is where Shelly's order went from 3,600 up to 17,000. And that's not going to happen all the time, by the way. It just might increase your order by a couple $100. It might increase your order by a couple grand. All right. But it's gifts for others. All right. So that's number 6. Is like gifts for, so like, hey, do you know anyone that loves to cook that you might want to buy a set for? This was me at dinner the other day, and actually I need to call her back because her credit card had declined and she wants to like put her order through. She's been texting me every day. Like, can I call you so I can tell you I want to put some other stuff? So I've got to call her back, but gifts for others. Like, hey, this is a great gift. You know, she was like, oh, I think I want to get a couple things for my husband. And I was talking to her and I was like, does your husband cook? She's like, yeah. I'm like, does he like really like to cook? She's like, oh, he's always in the kitchen. I was like, you should buy him a nice set. I said, because there's different tools he's going to use. And I started telling her, she's like, oh my gosh, yeah, you know what? You're right. Let's do that. You know? And so she wanted to buy a complete set. Right. That happened with a friend of mine. And I was like, oh, she said, oh, let me buy my husband. She bought him a homemaker. He loves to cook, always complains about their bad knives. That was James and Anna Hayden, one of my biggest customers, right? Like they weren't going to buy anything. They weren't going to buy anything, da, da, da. But at the end of the day, he's like, honey, I need good knives. Like he cooked for the chili cook-off. He was in a cooking club. They had crap knives, you know, and she ended up getting him that. She's like, this is your Father's Day gift, your birthday gift, your Christmas gift, your Valentine's gift, your St. Patrick's gift, your 4th of July gift. She started naming all these holidays that don't even have gifts. And she's like, every holiday for the next year, you just received it. But they ended up buying $3,600 of stuff and gave me, or $3,700 of stuff and gave me 36 recommendations, whom then I sold over $10,000 to those referrals, you know? So talk about gifts. So Shelly, I said, this was in the fall. And I was like, Shelly, have you finished all of your holiday shopping? And she was like, no. It was like September or something. And I said, oh my gosh. I said, does your family own Cutco like you do? And she said, I don't know. She's like, Dion, do your parents have Cutco? She's like, I don't know. I'm like, you guys have had Cutco for 10 years. I'm like, none of your family has Cutco. I'm like, how's that even possible? And they're like, I don't know. I'm like, you should make it a Cutco Christmas. I said, look, I know it's weird. I said, but it's actually a gift they're going to use every single day. Like, Shelly, what did you get 3 years ago? She's like, I have no idea. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, this is actually something they're going to use every single day and they're going to have for the rest of their life. I'm like, you can engrave it. There's like a little plaque you can put on it. I said, it's really nice. I said, so let me ask this question. Who, if you were giving Cutco, like who could you actually give Cutco to as a gift? Obviously, you're not going to give it to like your 12-year-old niece, but like who would you give Cutco to that you haven't done Christmas shopping for? And she's like, well, my mom, my dad, those are separate. They're divorced and they're both remarried. Dan's mom, his dad, they're separate also. I'm like, what? Cha-ching. So we have 4 parents, okay? And then she's like, okay, my brother, sister, da, 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 like 6 siblings, all right? So now we're up to 10 sets in my head, which it ended up being, by the way. And she's like, oh, and then my best friend and this, not. I said, all right, cool. I said, now, Shelly, I know everyone, and you guys can say this, like you're going to get more and more confident, but like, I know everybody has like a certain amount for people that they want to spend, right? Like my mom, my parents will spend a lot more on each other than they do on us, or they'll spend more on us than they do on like the kid at school, right? Or like their coworker. I said, so normally budget wise, about how much do you like to spend on parents' gifts? And she's like, probably like $1,000. She's like, sometimes we'll like buy them a nice handbag. Sometimes we'll send them on a cruise, you know, but we'll spend about $1,000 on our parents. I said, cool. How much do you spend on your siblings? They're like, I don't know. It varies year to year, but $500 is very normal, you know, or more, you know, because I might buy my sister a Coach bag and then we'll buy her husband like, you know, some, I don't know, Ferragamo belt, you know, and they were definitely upper income, by the way, for sure. I said, okay. I said, well, okay, I'm just gonna put like $500 or $600 on here and for these people. And she's like, I said, how about, she's like, them like $300, you know, them like, I don't know, $150. I said, all right, cool. I go, here's what I would recommend. I said, for your parents, buy them a homemaker. I said, it's a little more than $1,000. I said, but we can do free scissors. And she's like, oh yeah, I love those scissors. I was like, yeah, and we can hook them up with that. I was like, for your siblings, again, it's a little more. So we can go smaller if you want, but there's a set called the Galley. I said, it has the basic essentials. It has the air knife, it has a small utility, it has your sandwich maker, it has your like larger utility, it has a turning fork you can use together as a small carving set. It has the chopping knife and a bread knife. I said, it's a nice set, comes with 6 table knives or without. You get this. I said, and again, she said, can we get scissors with those too? I was like, yeah. She's like, okay, I like that one. And I said, so again, a little, maybe more than normal. I said, but is that something you're comfortable? She's like, yeah, put that down. And so I wrote that down for them. And then I said, for these guys, I would recommend one of our starter sets. Or one of our, I call the starter sets when I'm in a situation like this, gift sets. I said, let me show you our gift sets. So I use the starter sets as gift sets. And I said, let me show you our gift sets. Maybe this would be good for the ones. I said, these are like $400 instead of 3. She's like, that's fine. This has this. And she's like, can I get the scissor with that? I'm like, yes, you can. She's like, great. She's like so excited that everyone's getting scissors. And then I said, and then for these, I said $150. I said, I would look at some outdoor stuff, some gadgets, maybe entertainer pack. I said, who's it for? She's like, well, my sister. And so I showed her a couple things, and she did an entertainer pack for one. She did gardening tools for another. And she ended up doing a hunting knife for someone else, just a couple friends of theirs that they needed gifts for. So I tally up this order and I'm like, okay, so everything you want is about $17,000 worth of stuff. I said, but if you wanted to get it today, what I can do is the stuff you were going to buy for you that's over $3,000, I can just buy that for you as a thank you. I said, if you guys want to knock out all your holiday shopping with me today, I was like, I will buy your stuff. I said, and we can gift wrap everything and make sure that it's like ready to go. So all you have to do is deliver it. And her husband's like, wait a second, did you just say that like we could just like knock all this out, get this discounted, and that means I don't have to like go through the torture of figuring out what to buy everyone this Christmas? And I was like, yeah. He's like, take my credit card before she changes her mind. Please take my credit card right now. And he's like, it's like my nightmare every year buying holiday gifts for all of our family. And I was just like laughing. And I had the biggest order of my career. All right. And again, if you don't ask, if you don't show, you're not going to receive it. Cool. She wanted a couple things when I came over, and a couple things turned into a $17,000 order. So you've got to do that. And the last thing, number 7, is engraved business gifts. Cool. So, hey, do you have a business? Do you do client appreciation or business gifting? And making sure you bring that up. Sometimes it might be that. Sometimes they might buy a whole set, right? Caden Vivich, he had a $20,000 first, right? In that $20,000 first again, he had a $16,000 order. Okay. So he did sell $4,000 off all his other demos, but he had one demo that he sold $16,000. Do you know how much he was going to sell originally on that order? A homemaker or a complete set, His grandparents were looking at a complete set. And I knew when he was in training that he told me his grandparents lived in League City, but that they also had a house in Lake Jackson. And they had a boat. Like when I asked him about his top customers, like, oh, my grandparents, they cook like crazy. They have a boat. I don't know if it's a boat sale place or a boat docking or something, but they have their own business, something related with boats on the water in Lake Jackson. And then they have their house in Lake City. And so I knew that. So when he called me and his grandparents were going to get a complete set, or, they're like, he's like, they definitely want the complete set. I just want to see what I could get them for free. And I said, how many? I said that to him. He's like, what do you mean? I said, didn't you tell me they have 2 houses? He's like, yeah. I'm like, did you ask them like if they want one for each house? He's like, oh no. I said, ask them. And so he's like, Grandma, Grandpa, do you guys want one for each house? And then Grandma was like, oh yeah, let's do that. And then he was like, okay. And then I said, hey, all of our sets are buy 3, get 1 free. I said, I don't know if they want to buy any gifts for anyone. If they need anything, like, I don't know if your grandpa wants to like hook up your mom, I'm sure they have someone who runs the boat shop when they're here, like I do, like I took my personal assistant to, we went to Rio in Brazil and I took her to the Olympics, like people that help me build my business. Like I always want to take care of them, and so I said like, okay, cool. Do they have anyone? So he's like, well, let me find out. So he's like, Grandpa, Grandma, do you guys have any gifts? Because my boss just, all the sets are buy 3, get 1 free, so like if you wanted to buy one for like mom or for someone else, you could get another free one, maybe for like your office manager in like Jackson or whatever. And they were like, oh my gosh, what a great idea. Yeah, let's do that. And so they did. And then he's like, I need fishing knives. I want to give that as a gift when people buy their boats or whatever. So something with that. But then he's like, I need 25 fishing knives. We're like, okay, cool. And then he's like, and then they added a bunch of other like outdoor stuff and things that they wanted to have for their shop. But anyway, long story short, his net sale, actually his net sale was about $1,400. So he sold another $6,000 that weekend as well, off his other demos. But he would have sold a great order, right? $2,700 of buying a complete set. But instead, he called me, we went through this process, and he ended up having a 14,000 CPO order. His first check for his first weekend was $5,000. Okay. So again, I just share this with y'all because this makes a difference. Right. So make sure. So again, 7 steps. All right. And let's make sure you guys have all the steps. I'm going to write them down here. All right. So we'll put it over here. So step 1. All right. Are you showing? And again, call us so we can give you a deal, but larger set option. And guys, when you're upselling, those of you who are working as assistant managers, you're the same thing with reps. All right. Option or buy 3, get 1 free. Right. The second thing is, are you making sure, do they want to add steak knives? All right. Or stainless steel flatware, like whether it's just the table knives or the forks and spoons. All right. But stainless flatware, that's a great add-on. And again, is increase orders and also can turn no sales. Number 3, cookware. All right. Are we showing them the pots and pans? Number 4, kitchen accessories. All right. Kitchen accessories. There we go. Number 5, outdoor products. All right. So all of our outdoor, I'm just going to put outdoor line. Make sure. So that's gardening tools, barbecue tools, hunting knives, fishing knives, pocket knives, all that stuff. Right. Number 6, gifts for others. Right. Which can be any of those first 5. Right. Like, what do they want to buy from the first 5? And so see first 5. All right. And then number 7 is engraved client appreciation. All right. So I'll just put engraved business gifts. So they want to give client appreciation or closing gifts or whatever it is. So those are your 7 steps there, guys. You do that, you will have bigger orders, I promise.